probably that. Yep. TLP live alerts. I'll give everybody another minute. Let's see. Thank you, Sale. Ah, Cough is here. Okay, thank God.
Thank you for what? I'm confused.
Just thank you.
Just thank you.
Oh.
Just take it.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
All right, guys. Streaming. Let me see. Let's see. Yes. October monthly meeting. We will probably have another October meeting. Hopefully. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I want to start with addressing the situation with a bunch of our Olympians leaving the guild. And I hope you guys can hear me okay. So I'll start at the top of this, and I'll take it. About 6 months ago, we were looking for a tank for profits. We were a tank short in profits, and we were also looking for tanks for the Mythic team. And 2 people were invited into those roles at almost around the same time, or at least within a month of each other. And at some point we upgraded that person to the Olympians team. And during a 5-man key, he kind of blurted out some things that were disturbing to some people. That was raised up to first it was raised up to Cough. Then it was, of course, raised up to me. And Cough and I sat and talked about it. We made a decision about it. Then I went and I said the decision was I would verify this information. So I went and I talked to Oprah. I talked to Galatea. I talked to Athena at the time, which were the 3 people that were in that group. And it came to light that, yes, he did mention this. And so we then talked to him. And, we were going to, at that time, offload him from the guild. Let's put it that way. And I said, you have to prove me that what you're telling me is true. And so we did our due diligence, ran a check, and we found that there wasn't really anything there that would harm anybody or be a threat to anybody or anything like that. And it was something that had happened in 2008. So we made the erroneous mistake of saying, okay, we'll give you a shot, and that didn't sit well with a couple of people. And unfortunately, that then when this particular person made a rather loud, anger-filled rant in the team about, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was angry about being called a name and this and that, and etc. I talked to the person that was involved as well. I said, hey, it's not cool to do, call people those things, etc. And I explained to them why it kind of set off that person. And after that, I made the decision to demote that person from the Olympians team to the Profits team. And they did not, of course, respond well to that. They pretty much yelled at me and everything like that. And left the guild, right? Then, we were approached by a certain person to, and mind you guys, I have to kind of be careful about what I say, because I also don't want to dox people, right? I don't want to put a whole bunch. You guys wouldn't want that either, right? Okay, so I'm going to be careful about how I'm explaining this. Okay, so bear with me. And so we had one person come up to us, and they wanted to air their grievances and things that had happened, that, some things, they came up to us about, we took action on, and some things they did not come up to us about, and we had no idea about. Okay. And, at that point, we thought, okay, well, this person's no longer in the guild, you know, we feel like that was, a situation that was, no longer an issue. At first, what we had thought was, well, if we demote this person to prophets, they, will not be around this other person that just did not clash with him. Let's put it that way. And so, all of this kind of turned into a lot of behind the scenes talk, and things of that nature, and some accusations thrown at me, especially me. And frankly, I'm going to sit here and say, I'm very sorry that I made a wrong decision, or that we collectively as a guild made a wrong decision.
Guild leadership did.
The leadership did, yes. We made a wrong decision back 5-6 months ago, and it caused strife, and we should have corrected that situation. But I am also saying I also did not deserve what I got in return. There were people that were, applying to re-enter this guild and to say things in guild chat. There have been replies to forum posts, etc., trying to defame me, defame my guild. And I don't think that's right either. And some of it has been directed at certain people who meant a lot to me. And those people, unfortunately, just have decided to exit the guild. And that, also they were part of the Olympians team. I would have liked to have had them come to me and ask me directly if anything that's being said was true, but that didn't happen. So that this is where we're at. I wanted to kind of start from the top. I want to say that, after this incident, I did make a change in our guild rules that said nobody should talk about criminal background pasts or anything like that, because I'm not here to police people. I'm here to play a game. I'm here to down some bosses. I'm down to make some friends and make some real connections with people. And, to open that door would be an impossibility for me to keep. There's no space where that could possibly be guaranteed or anything like that, right? But from now on, the guild rules, and have been for 4 or 5 months, is nobody should talk about their past. I mean, we've had rules about not talking about politics, not talking about religion. This is now one of them. And it's going to be strictly enforced. So if I hear about it, you will be kicked from the guild for not following the rules at face value, right? That's the change we're making. That's what we're doing going forward. Okay? So I urge everybody to be mindful of what they say to other people, because other people can have a real sensitivity to things. And we don't want anybody here to feel uncomfortable. That's never been my goal. This guild has been together for 27 years. We have multiple chapters. We have 5,500 members worldwide. I am an organization. And so that means a lot to me. This is something my late husband and I put together, and it's in his memory. And to be honest, I feel very attacked. And that doesn't sit well with me. Did I make a mistake? Yes, I did. I think the leadership made a mistake. And we're human. What can I say? And I'm also like, people come to me with various different things, various different ailments, etc., etc. And I have always, because I have a disability myself, have been very sympathetic. And maybe I'm a little too sympathetic. Okay? And now, we're going to plan to move forward. And I'm going to turn this over to Koff or Mez, one of my senior officers, that can step up here and talk about what we're planning to do for the Olympians team.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess before we talk about that, like, I know that there's been, information being, I guess, passed around, people been hearing things, is there anything on the topic of, people leaving, and all of that? I guess the issue that has been brought up, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to say anything on it? I want to make sure that everyone has a chance to air out anything that they want, or I wanted to basically make sure that everyone is on the same page, essentially. So if there's something that,
Right, we'd like to put this entire thing behind the guild, and the only way to do that is to make sure that everybody's questions are answered.
Yeah. Don't want people to feel like this isn't an open forum. It definitely is. We want to be able to answer any questions or anything that you guys have to make sure that we can move forward, and that we're not just kind of, talking at you guys, that this is indeed a group discussion.
And if you're not comfortable asking a question, in this public setting, then feel free to send somebody a tell, whether it be myself or Koff. Danny, I'm sure as well, would be available to field questions from anyone.
Okay.
I guess I have a question for leadership in general. When did you learn about this individual's history, and can you provide some transparency on the decision that was made at the time?
Yeah, so I think we can, I don't, we're talking about individual. I think we can say the
like, we're not saying names or what they did, what they're accused of. Like, really? Like, radio silence on this, guys?
Yeah, I think we can say the name of. So let me set this. So 6 months ago, Danny's talking about Cano. I don't know if everyone's familiar with him, but some people are new. But basically, we had a tank, Cano, that divulged some information that he was arrested for essentially for hentai pornography in Alabama, and this was in 2008 that we would find later. But basically, he divulged that information to a select group of people that were in a Discord call, which was Pip, Gal, someone who's not in the guild anymore, Athena, and then I believe Colonel Oprah was there.
Yeah, Colonel.
So that information, as soon as that happened, Pip reached out to me and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you. Something happened." Pip comes to me and talks to me about this information. I bring it up to Danny, bring it up to the leadership team, and that's when the decision to investigate, further what that means. So I guess starts right here. We have someone says something unprompted, divulges this information to a group of people, and then now we're handling this situation. So that's where we're at this point. From there, there was a background check done, paid for by Danny, out of her own pocket to investigate, I guess, what was said and verify what was said. So
did
that
this person have child sex crimes?
No.
Is this person on the child or on the sex offender registry?
It is. They are, yes.
For what
So-
charge?
Possession of what is known as visual representation of what could be deemed as minors engaging in sexual activity. That's the charge.
That's the charge?
Yeah.
So I can have some nuance and see some gray area for sex crimes in general, but I have zero tolerance for sex crimes with minors.
Right. There was no victim.
So, well,
I just want to
the
clarify
code of
this
law
is-
would disagree with you, but
No, but that was
that's why it's a crime.
It actually says it. There's no victim because it was comics. It was comics.
Do we accept minors in the guild, or is it
No, we do
adults
not.
only?
No, we do not. This is an adult-only situation. It always has been 18.
Probably a good decision.
So yes. So the background check comes back with this information, and then Cano is addressed by a couple of the officers, basically confirming, like, well, one, I guess there's two assumptions here, right? That one, what he initially said was not a lie because he divulged it randomly.
Right.
So it'd be kind of a weird thing to admit to you were arrested for this randomly. So that's
That
the
to me
assumption.
is a predator testing their boundaries in their space to see what they can get away with.
Well, so I can see that as like hindsighting it, right? You can see that if you once you know, but also, I guess.
I mean, I'll speak. I'll speak.
Okay.
Yeah. So he came. This is exactly what happened. So Koff came to me, told me about this, and the decision was to verify that this was what was said with the people involved. Oprah is here, so he can verify that I went to him. I went to Galatea. I went to a person called Athena back then. They're no longer in the guild, for other reasons, scheduling reasons. And I verify that that's what was being said. And so then, because I'm not just going to, somebody coming at me and saying, this person said this, I have to verify that, right?
Absolutely. That would be hearsay, right? So when you get his name and you put it into the sex offender registry and he pops up
hold on.
as a leader,
Yeah.
why don't you say, hey, we're inclusive, but that's crossing the line. We're not inclusive to
So
people with child sex crimes.
I came to him. I went to him and I said, I need you, I'm about to kick you for this. I need you to tell me the story, stem to stern. And he did tell me the story, stem to stern. The story that he told me was he worked at a comic book store where this kind of material was provided, and he was arrested for that along with other people that were part of that comic store. And he was charged. He pled not guilty. He is a person with mental difficulties, developmental difficulties. He has Asperger's. Okay. There was, I saw in the background, there was like nothing really that said there was a victim or there was anything like that. Everything about the act that issued the warrant, everything in that report was there. And when I read the act that he supposedly violated, it was, possession of child pornography with the intent to distribute. That checked out for me. And it said in there, it's visual reproductions, not pictures. So I said, okay, he's telling me the truth. And this happened in 2008. And I am under the assumption of like, hey, I felt at that time that I could give this person a chance. because there was no priors before this and nothing after this. This was the only thing on there. And I felt genuinely that some people deserve a second chance. And I made that decision along with, I checked that with all of the officers. I checked with the officers on this, and we all agreed on that. But it eventually lies with me. Yeah? But yes, I made that mistake. You know, I felt a certain way for people that come from that background. I am married to one that has those disabilities. No, my husband's not a child rapist. Okay, or anything that's being tossed out there, or anything that's being said about that none of that has been found. We ran 7 reports. Celeria can confirm because she ran her own independent report, and she actually got all of the court records. So there's nothing on there that says anything bigger than that happened, you know, or anything in relation to any victim or anything like that. So that's where I faltered. I'm a softie. I have a big heart. I should have just said, yes, sorry, this is not for you. But I did not. And for that, I do apologize. But at the same time, I'm not going to be vilified for it either. And, you know, having forum posts and having, you know, things sent to me and having, like, you know, people, you know, trying to turn people against me, that's not nice either.
So what is the guild stance on having a sex crime record in general? I know we can't talk about it, but if someone does have one and it does come to light, what are we doing with that individual?
Well, like I said, the rule is we are not talking about anyone, any more of your criminal past. That's going to be as hard rule as politics and religions to me. So,
And they will be pretty much de-kicked immediately. That's
immediately, yes.
Yes.
That is
Is
the
that
change that
stance?
that is the stance going forward, yes.
That child sex crimes are not allowed in the guild.
If I know about them, but how am I going to ask everybody?
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. Don't ask, don't tell is a wild policy to have, Danny.
okay.
I agree with not
What do
having
you
sex
propose?
crimes. I agree not allowing sex crimes, people with sex crimes allowed in the guild. I agree we shouldn't be talking about it, but like having a hard and fast rule, like, don't talk about anybody's criminal
What do we
background.
do
Like, okay.
about the fact that this is a worldwide guild and people are in different jurisdictions with different laws all over the world?
Also, how can you expect Danny to? You think she should get everybody's personal information?
Nope.
And pony up $200 to do a background check?
Nope. I'm not saying
Right,
background checks. I'm saying when it does come up, hey,
Yeah.
this person did something creepy. This person talked, you know,
So
maybe we should look into this,
Pretty sure
right?
that's what was just said, correct?
Yeah, that
we
was
did.
what was
Yeah.
just said.
That is what we did. We looked into it.
So I think
hold on a second, Paul. And his name and social security number were provided to me by him. He gave me permission to run that background check.
Okay.
Okay? So he gave me permission to do that. I can't do that for someone who's not. There are privacy laws here, right?
Well, really, you just need to know his name.
Well, yes. And nobody really knows anybody's name here. Do you?
I know his name and what he looks like now, unfortunately, because I looked at the FBI website. Because somebody gave me his first name and last name.
Who?
And there he was.
Who?
Cano's first and last name.
Yeah, no. Who gave you that information?
It's in the Discord. Like there was, and he gave it himself, right? He said his name numerous times. Whether or not you were paying attention to it, like he just apparently did.
But
he had said
Dogfight is saying someone gave him specifically his name and his first and last name.
Right. There was a link to his whatever search, and there it was. And then I took that and went to the FBI website, and there when I confirmed it on the FBI website, possession of child porn.
Okay, but not rape.
Right. The second degree rape charge I ignored because that website seemed pretty sketchy. I would be okay with someone having a second degree rape charge. I would still play video games with them. I would not play video games with someone with a minor possession of minor pornography. So
I mean,
I
I'm
think
not
we have
really
different
cool with
values,
either,
Danny,
so I
because you
think
seem to be okay with someone playing with someone with a possession of minor pornography.
Well, so I think that the level setting here is that the it's not a don't ask, don't tell like policy in the sense of like it's not trying to be discreet or like secretive about everything that like people have. It's more that people come, like someone mentioned, people come from all different like a worldwide guild, they come from different backgrounds. It's not even just about sex crime, it's about criminal past, like, you know, if someone has a record for assault and whatever the case may be, like it can be interpreted numerous ways. And so I think the idea here is that not like just how politics are a touchy subject for everybody. Like it can be, you know, whatever you say might be construed in some other different way, and it's just a subject to stay away from. I think that this is one that kind of fits into that umbrella, and that if the information does come to light, in whether it's divulged in a small channel with a group of people, whether it's divulged in a larger setting, that the repercussions for that are the immediate removal of the guild from the guild, because it's not the community that's trying to be built, right? Like if the information again spreads, there's the like again, it's interpreted different ways, and I think that it's not trying to be secretive about information, but when it comes to light, that the repercussions are removal from the guild.
Well, I'm the new guy in you guys' guild, but I work for a very large corporation. I actually work for Goodyear, as a matter of fact. I work for a very large corporation in the United States. And here's how I see it. And I've just put my 2 cents worth in it about it. And like me and Phil discussed it like last night, but I'll put my 2 cents worth into it, and you probably won't hear me discuss it again. Like any large corporation, like Goodyear employs probably 100,000 people throughout the United States, if not that, maybe even 200,000 people throughout the United States. And one of their number one rules when you sign on to work for them is they make you sign and this isn't exactly related to what you guys are discussing, but it's pretty close. They force you to sign an agreement that there will be no discussion whatsoever about sexual harassment within the workplace. And the reason they do that is because, you know, you employ all kinds of different people throughout the world, and some people may have had a history of that in their life prior to history of that having happened to them in their life prior to being employed by Goodyear at another job. And the reason they have an absolute zero tolerance policy for that is if you're caught discussing it in the workplace, you may create an uncomfortable work environment for someone who may have experienced that at a prior job. You may freak them out. You never know how people will react, especially if you don't know their background. And that pretty much applies to, you know, the situation that you guys are discussing here, though it be a different subject or a different topic, so to speak. But the way Goodyear looks at it is, you know, you work with, like, some of these plants employ, you know, 5,000 people per plant. You don't know the history of 5,000 people. You don't know, you know, people's background and the history of 5,000 different people. You could offend somebody. It could create a big uproar. So their policy is if you even discuss it, if they even hear you talking about it, if they even hear the word come out of your mouth and they find out about it, no questions asked, you're terminated on the spot. Like they walk you out the door, they terminate you on the spot. No second chances. If you even discuss it, you're terminated on the spot. And I'm not playing the devil's advocate. I'm not picking sides, but I do agree with just simply not discussing it because you don't know people's background. You don't know people's background, and it's impossible to police the entire world. You know, it just is. You know, you don't know people's background. You don't know what they've experienced in their life. You don't know what they went through. You don't know their personal hardships that they've experienced. So the easiest way to deal with it is just to not discuss it. don't bring it up because you might offend somebody. I mean, the very subject of the matter that we're discussing right here, you might offend somebody. Somebody might have a very strong stance against it. So if you just don't talk about it, you prevent offending someone.
I don't care if I offend a child predator. I don't want
That's
them
not what
in my
he's saying.
space.
I would like
That's
to
not-
say something because
That's
like I'm
fair,
also
but what if you're wrong? Because that's happened in guilds I've been in before.
Well, that's
where
why I
people have
waited.
been-
That's why I checked the FBI website before I cheat quit, right?
Yeah.
as someone else who is new to the guild, I just want to say that this guy isn't even in the guild, so I don't understand why this is such a hard problem for you. He's gone. He left. So
Well,
if you're still upset about it, why are you still here? I'm sorry.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to whoever's still upset about it.
I think it's more just getting transparency about what happened as opposed to being upset about it and trying to understand what.
I
I
just
guess-
because like he seems like it just seems like there's a lot of hostility here, and
Well, I mean-
like I don't.
I mean, rightfully so, right? Like it's justifiable to be upset about something that you hear.
You provided the transparency. Move on. Instead of just harping on it and just making it worse and worse. Transparency provided. Move on.
Nobody ever said they were okay with it either. Danny said that he worked for a company that had that on site. It's not like he owned it himself, I'm assuming. So she's not saying she's okay with child pornography.
Absolutely. So, Kit, I absolutely am not okay.
Right, obviously, yeah.
That's obvious, right? But I'm also sympathetic to the situation this guy was in. And
he's just working for a company that was doing some shady stuff. He's not
Right,
necessarily
he
doing
pled
it.
innocence, but it went to trial, and he was found guilty, right?
He was, yes, but do you
Everybody
see,
found guilty isn't necessarily actually guilty.
He took a plea deal.
Can I speak for a moment?
Yes, please.
I think that the entire point, we're getting a little off with this, but I think the entire point was that regardless of what it was the point was that she was trying to give someone with disabilities, someone with issues, a second chance, and it should not have happened. And he was left in the guild, and we regret letting him stay in the guild. And that moving forward, we don't need to be hearing about, like, we can tell people when they apply, like, if you're a sexual predator, let us know, but that's not going to happen. So I think that the best option here is let's not talk about criminal issues. We're not going to tolerate any kind of I'm a rapist, I'm a sex offender, anything like that from anybody, whether you say it to 3 other people or you say it in raid. Like, we're not tolerating any of that from anyone moving forward. We are regretful of the situation that had happened, but in all honesty, he has been gone for almost a month now, and we are trying to move forward as a guild, because at the end of the day, this was one person in a guild of hundreds, and that's not something that we want to tolerate, and we are all humans who make a mistake. So this is just kind of us trying to get this transparency out so that it doesn't feel like anything secretive is happening, to air out if anyone has any further issues, moving forward with the guild, and so that we can continue playing World of Warcraft, which is the entire goal of being here tonight and being in the guild in general.
If I may, just hearing about this, it just seems like under this new policy, he would have been kicked right away. So
yeah,
correct.
That is good.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's
I had never dealt
a
with
little
anything like this before, Salami. I'll be on. I had never, in 27 years of this guild has been together, never dealt with anything like this before, and I just didn't know what to do. I relied on getting feedback from my leaders, which is what they're there to do, to help me, get some feedback, etc., etc. I did the best I could with the information I had.
Sure.
I
can understand, right,
but I also don't deserve to be,
It's we are not the lawyers that were there, or the judge, or the jury, but also pedophilia is really fucked up and really causes a lot of harm.
There's no space where I would have ever said that this is okay. If there had been victims, it had been whatever, right? Like, that would have been it for me.
Right. So it's just like, okay, well, now the new policy, he would have been kicked right away. So it sucks that he was here for so long after, but like, there's a good new policy for it. So fuck it.
Exactly. We're just trying to correct the situation. I feel like the only reason that he was allowed to stay is because the information that we had almost went with his story that it was anime. And I'm sorry, at least one of y'all in the guild has seen anime porn before. I'm just gonna say at least somebody has. Like, we're not saying it's children or anything, but I'm not faulting a guy for watching anime related things. And I think that we didn't think it was as serious as it very well may be, and we're just trying to correct the situation moving forward. I didn't mean any of that offensively. If that sounded offensive, I just meant it in a realistic kind of way.
And to clarify what I was trying to say, to make it more, blunt and transparent, what I was trying to say, I'm an older person, so I'm far from acceptant of somebody who would, have, that in their past. I'm far from accepting of it. I would follow the same guidelines as the set forth rule from this point on. Is anybody who's involved in it and it's discovered that they are is immediately kicked. That's common sense. What I was saying is you can't sit around and you can't ask every person that you bring into your guild, hey, have you been involved in pedophilia? I mean, what kind of question is that? You would scare them off immediately, especially if they weren't involved in it before. It would cast a bad light on the guild in the first place. If every person you brought into your guild, you questioned to see if they had been involved in some type of predatory past or something. So who in their right mind would ask that question? What I'm saying is by not discussing it, just like the rule that my company that I work for set forth, by not discussing it, having a zero tolerance policy about it not being discussed, period, you prevent the opportunity for it to create a situation like what has been created here. You prevent these situations by flat not discussing it, and then if it is discussed, that person is promptly punished, just like the policy that the company I work for has.
Except
if it's
the report,
discussed,
I would hope.
yeah.
I don't think anyone ever was just generally asking. Anybody here was convicted of a sex crime? I don't think that ever happened in the guild.
Someone suggested that people should have to sign something at the start saying they whatever.
Well, we agree to not say the double G words, right?
Yeah.
Why can't we agree to not be a sex offender?
Because
I don't like the idea
it should be unspoken.
come out though.
Oh my god, can we move on?
Yeah, I think we're a little stuck on that.
We're having the
I
meeting,
think-
right?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
but
meeting. And I'm not gonna...
the meeting has been there's a solution. Like we provided it already. We're moving on. Like,
Hey, quick question. To bounce off on what somebody said. I don't remember exactly what I filled when I joined, but I filled up a bunch of stuff. And I think it's a good idea to just, put a certification, swear on your word or something that
Lie.
you haven't
They would
been
just
convicted
lie.
of anything salacious or whatever. And
I mean,
checkbox.
People aren't going to admit it either way.
Yeah, but at least we
can't
cover our
really-
asses.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't police the world, though. You can't. I mean,
It's
how
not
would
about
you
policing.
prove-
It's about covering your ass.
Well, I'm not here to cover my ass. Like that's not the intent. The intent was I came up against something I had never come up against before. I didn't know how to handle it well. I sought the counsel of the people that I trust. One of those particular people was leaking information, and that's how the name got out. Okay? Because, I don't know if some of us knew his name, but other than that, right? My whole thing is, I'm not here to we're here to play a game. I'm not paying anybody here. I'm not, nobody's being paid to do the work that we do. And as Solari can tell you, we do a lot of work behind the scenes to make this a good guild and a good community. And so, my thing is, hey, we learn, we adapt, we make changes, and we move on. But I'm also not going to say I'm not going to have this whole thing started because I wanted to give someone the benefit of the doubt. And it turned out bad. So it's on me, right? I saw something that I thought, oh, this happens a lot to a lot of other people. And, it depending on where you live in the United States, it can happen a lot more than not. And I said, I can understand how this became a thing. And so I said, okay, fine. That was my mistake. I own up to it. I've apologized several times in written letters and, to other people, et cetera, et cetera. Just, that's all I can do is make it better as I learn and go forward. That's all I can do. I can't police this whole thing. I have I have basically three people that really I have a connection with that around providing guidance and stuff, and that's Koff and Mez. And I'll be honest, like some of the officers here are new. They weren't even officers at that time. Right? So like I mean, some of you guys weren't even around at that time 5 months ago, right? So like I'm just saying, what I'm saying is I owned up to my shit. Like, I'm going to just say it. This is an 18 plus guild. I'm going to own up to my shit. I've apologized for that shit. Okay. And I've made changes going forward. That's all I can do. And I think that's all that you can expect of me as a community leader. Who disagrees with that?
Yeah, no one. That's a fucked up situation you got into. I mean,
so do we want to turn it over to Koff then, just to go over what we're gonna do for the Mythic team? I don't think we really need to go into this anymore. I think we wanted there to be transparency so that everybody understands, and we did have a couple people leave because of the drama, but at the end of the day, nobody wants any more of this drama in our guild. Like, we just want to be able to play World of Warcraft. So we wanted to be transparent with everyone so that it's out in the open and we are moving forward. And Koff, if you want to, I don't know.
I'll also just echo what Mez said at the beginning there. Like, if you're not done, if there's one or two people in here that have more to say and want to discuss it with the leaders in private, we don't need to keep 25 people in here while we hash that out. I'm sure the leaders are happy to have that conversation in private, but I think we can move on at this point.
Yeah. So as far as the Mythic team, obviously I believe we had like 6 people go from there. So we have some plans to get people moved around from the Prophet team to help fill some of those roles as well. And then on top of it, some people will be that are capable of shifting into roles that are on the Olympian team currently will probably be doing that. So like, for example, and this won't be for next Tuesday for me personally because I'm actually going on vacation for a couple weeks, so I will be out. But if we need a tank, I can tank. Like, if we need a healer, I can heal, stuff like that. So there's some movement around in terms of positions from who's on the team right now that can fill the roles that we need. From just looking at the roles right now, it looks like healers would probably be the number one role that we would need to fill immediately to keep the Mythic component going. I think we can still continue to clear the heroic raid pretty easily with who is still here, right? But healers are good healers are what we're gonna need to continue progressing through Mythic. So basically, I think, if there's people that want to try to fill those roles, like, just let me or Fel know. We'll work with you to kind of see what we have available to kind of keep that team going. We're also obviously recruiting as best we can, and that's kind of really hasn't stopped. It's just kind of now there's more, I guess, it's more of a time sensitive issue to make sure that we keep progressing through Mythic, because that's obviously the goal, right? I guess the overall goal that I would like to see the Mythic team hit this season is 6 of 8. And honestly, if we were just able to get through Lumathar and Forge Weaver, I think the last two are just kind of not going to be too difficult. So we're just looking for specific roles and people that can flex, right? So as you know, as we're recruiting more people, the ability for people to change, classes, change roles, change specs, all of that is valuable. Having, different characters that are able to serve those roles is something that we're looking for. So I think that, I think that's basically the general direction. The raids are still going to continue on Tuesday, Thursday, right? It's just, it's just good. Like with the people that have left, it's just a little setback, but it's definitely not stopping anything. It's not preventing, us from raiding. We're just going to continue to push forward and obviously try and meet that goal of 6 of 8 for the season, and then carry it on into midnight. So that's kind of the direction of the Olympian team right now. Fel or Mez, I don't know if there's anything else that I missed on that, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of just the overall direction that.
No, like you said, I've been working with Danny a little bit over the last couple of days to, get some people on the team that might want to try and move up, or are on the better performing end, to come and join us, during this time. Whether that turns into a permanent position because they want that challenge and the schedule works for them is still TBD. But at the end of the day, like, we've got tanks, we've got healers, we've got DPS. And so the plan this week, so everybody's aware, is most likely to do a full clear of Heroic on Tuesday, unless we have a full guild group of 20. And after the first few bosses, I'm confident we can move into Mythic and be successful. And the reason for that is I don't want a half cleared Mythic run if we're in a position where we need to pug on Thursday. If we need to pull in a couple of DPS to fill spots on Thursday, I'd rather have a fresh, clean Mythic where we can go in and get our 2 bosses down that we have downed now multiple times with less than 4 attempts, and we will be able to get those vault slots going on and continue our recruitment efforts. I mean, you guys can see, over the last week, while it's been a difficult week and it's been tough, we've had just as many people joining the guild as leaving the guild. And that's evidence to the fact that this is a strong, resilient community. And the leadership team, Danny, Sale, you guys work really, really hard to make that happen. It's something that I've noticed my entire time in this guild, is how hard you guys work behind the scenes to continue to push, continue to recruit, make sure we have the bodies that we need to make Mythic happen. And even to the point where we're able to choose the best people for the content and push forward. And we're always happy to run 23, 24, 25 people through Heroic, but when it comes time for Mythic, there's an opportunity there for people to demonstrate that's where they should be, and we can take the best 20 people into that content and get bosses down and move forward. So that's kind of the plan this week. Hopefully everybody shows up and we get some good rating in, and we can do a full guild group of 20 and push into Mythic on Thursday. But we'll see what happens. But we're certainly going to be rating, and even if I have to pull in a couple of pugs, that's what we're going to do.
Full Heroic Tuesday, Mythic on Thursday.
Yeah, like I said, unless we have a full 20, a strong group, I'm happy with the numbers, then we may continue our current trend of doing the first 6 bosses in 60 to 80 minutes and then moving into Mythic for the remaining hour and a half. But we'll have to play that by ear. But my suspicion is We've got some new players to the team, players that haven't experienced Mythic before, and obviously, the concern around just the total number of bodies. My guess is we'll run a full clear on Tuesday, and then we'll move into Mythic. If I have to pug 1 or 2 on Thursday, that's what I will do.
Yeah, and on that, right, guys, if you're trying to go to the Mythic, like if your goal is to get to be a Mythic Raider, right, like try and help the best you can with being prepared for fights, understanding them, like watching a video. If we can relink the videos that we use to kind of do our generic strategy with them. Obviously there'll be an explanation if there's something different from the video that we do, but trying to become ready, prepared, flasks, all that type of stuff, food, all that stuff will help tremendously, right? It saves down on time where we're essentially talking as opposed to hitting bosses, right? And getting reps in for people that maybe haven't experienced it but are, ready theoretically, right? Like you watch the videos, all the strategy, all the stuff, all the differences between heroic and mythic. It'll definitely help that process speed up a little bit. And then just understanding that, like, again, if the goal is to be a mythic raider, like what the commitment of that is, right? Like the heroic raid's obviously a little bit more flexible. If you can dedicate the time to the mythic team for the mythic raid, like it is a bit of more of a dedication. So just be, just I guess try and make that distinction for yourself. If it is something that you want to commit to full time, obviously, as we're filling this, like Fel said, we're filling this this week or two, helping out. We'll probably ask people that maybe mythic isn't their goal, but if they can help for this week or two, it'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, I'm talking specifically for the people that want to be on the mythic team full time. It is a bit more of a commitment, so just understand that. And I think that, I think Fel and Mez and the other leaders for the raid this next couple weeks will have answers, and we'll be able to successfully carry out the raid, right? Like it's going to be business as usual come raid time, and it's going to be I think it's going to be just as good, if not maybe we have a little bit better performance. There's more people that are wanting to try, like eager to get in there and perform, and I think it's going to be great. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else on it as far as the mythic team.
I think this is probably more a discussion within the actual mythic team, but is there a healing officer that sets up like raid CDs? Because if there is, that will make someone stepping up their job easier.
Absolutely. And here's the situation with that. I was the healer lead for that team, for our old school Olympians team, and I was the one that had all the cooldowns, and we would time it and all that good stuff. We've never had another person that really can do that in the mythic team. We would love someone that could do that, right? The thing about that is of course you have to have the training to really know how to do that, right? Like, so you have to time, and like I would say, like, the person that I think that could be taught how to do that well is either Mez or even Celeria, right? At least Celeria knows the bosses from the heroic team. She's being stepped up into the Olympian teams. She's going to need to adjust a little bit about the timings and everything, and the additional stuff that comes in, right? And it's the same thing for Blob. Blob has been, a DK on the heroic team, and he's going to need a little time to also adjust. My husband's going to step in and heal on his monk in the Olympian team, and my husband actually has done that with me before. So like we can figure something out there, but I do think that is something that we can really, really improve on. I also feel like there should be more call outs and stuff like that in general, right? Like, just having more call outs will help us a lot too. And especially for the people that are learning, right? That they have to learn the changes from heroic to mythic.
Yeah, and again, I think it's more of a discussion within the team, but like there are insanely detailed spreadsheets out there by crazy raiders that make that like a somewhat simple thing to learn.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's that's been a thing for many years. I think there's some even in Reddit WoW healers. So there's probably something like that still around this. I mean,
it just makes it easier if someone's like, I don't know if I can heal Mythic. Well, if that's set up, it's easier. It's still hard, but it's easier.
Yeah, there's so there is I guess something that I've been looking into for that to help the new, whoever the healing lead becomes in that, kind of get acclimated with like I guess a visual of how to call those out and like the best way to, I guess, manage that, because it is a lot, right? Especially like maybe you're a healer that doesn't heal Resto Shaman, but you heal Priest and Druid, or being a healing officer, like you should be familiar with all of the healer types and what they do.
Yeah, that's really my personal. Sorry to cut you off there, Cough. Personal concern with doing that myself is that I, since coming back, have not really done much outside of Disc Priest, which I haven't played at all this season, and Resto Shaman.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there is a way that I have, like, that I see to track all of that information in a screen that's kind of easy to look at, but necessarily the learning curve of learning when to use those is what will need to be ironed out. So we'll have the visual, but again, the knowledge of like when to use Spirit Link, or like when to use, if there's a holy, we never really even had a holy priest. So the
whoa. He was there for like 2 weeks.
He buddy.
Yeah. Well,
He buddy.
Yeah, recently, I guess I should say.
This is kind of like more of a sidetrack, but if you do lord.io, it tells you like when, like, you have to choose a person's profile, like the top 5 holy priest healer out there. It actually tells you when they would pop their cooldowns.
Yeah,
it's lorg.io, LORRG, I think .io, something like that.
There's a couple of timeline stuff like that will help with that learning curve of when healers will pop their, or like, I guess, when everyone, like, there's a website that will tell you like when everybody pops their like big cooldowns, and whether it's healers, whether it's tanks, whether it's DPS by class, everybody. So that information will help, for that specifically. But yeah, it's just for the healing specific stuff, it's going to be just learning whoever, like, again, when that healing officer is chosen or the healing lead is chosen, just making sure that they're comfortable with all the specific bursts that each healing class has. And so I think there's a path to get there. It's just going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So there is, I guess, long story short, to answer your question, like, yeah, we will definitely have something like that being set up so that someone can make that, for new healers, that transition a little bit easier.
A lot of that comes from the healers actually learning how each other heals in a big group like that.
Yeah. Yep. Just having someone that can provide the general direction, and then, get the feedback. Like if there's a call out called, like, for Spirit Link, the other healer could, that healer could be like, oh, well, maybe we don't need to pop it here. And having that dialogue between, the healing officer and those healers will also strengthen that, right? As basically there's, again, the learning happening. So it'll definitely be something that we are implementing stronger than we've had in the past. It's going to be a learning for everyone involved.
I think it's also just going to take a little bit until we get a steady, like, healer set, because it has changed quite a bit a few times. So I feel like it's just going to take, like, these are our main healers that are here every week, and then we adjust to that and get used to that.
It's a really cool site.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess on that, right, like, some like this site that Danny is pulling up right now, like, if there are things that people are aware of, I guess what I'll just say is that don't assume that the officers know every single site like this, right? Like every single thing out there, right? There's a lot of stuff out there for this game.
We're never gonna know every World of Warcraft website.
Yeah, so like if you guys have something that you say, hey, maybe they don't know about this, like just share it, right? The more information being shared on this, the better. It'll help us kind of put together stuff, and yeah, like I wouldn't assume that just because you know about something that everyone else does, and even though you've used it for years, for example, like I just give you my background on this. Like I came back to WoW from the last time I played WoW was Wrath of the Lich King up until the War Within, right? So like there's still stuff like this site I just found out about like maybe a few like 3 weeks ago. So there's still stuff that I still learn consistently all the time. So yeah, just don't.
What website is this again? Just because I'd like to see it on my own.
Lords.io. I'm going to put this in the chat.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Oh, I didn't even see. Or I'll put it in raid chat.
I dropped it on the Yo chat too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. This is really nice.
Power of TikTok.
Okay. All right. So, anything else? Again, like we are available for you guys to continue conversations, et cetera, et cetera. My goal is always to get back to Hall of Fame and work towards that goal. I want to see us kind of do that for the rest of midnight and just continue to get better and better and better and better. And if you are having any trouble with the mechanics of something or whatever else in that regard, it is always better for you to voice it. Don't feel shy, right? Don't feel like, oh, people are going to think I'm stupid because I'm asking stupid questions. There are no stupid questions, and so just ask if you are having trouble, if you're like...
The only stupid question is the one not asked.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So make sure that you ask Koff, ask Fel, ask, Gad for the Prophets team, and me, and Celeria, who's now leaving me and going to the Mythic team. But that's okay. You can ask her
I
as
have
well.
I have a stupid question. Do you think you know the answer?
No. I'm always in the space of I want to be the dumbest person in a room. I'm like that in real life too, even in my career. I'm a sponge and I want to try to learn as much as I can. So I'm, that's kind of like me. I'm 51. I've had a lot of life, but I certainly have very different experiences than most people. I mean, I did 8 digs in Egypt, for Christ's sake. I mean, if people could say that, right? So that's kind of the crux of how I approach my life, right? So I hope everybody approaches it with the same wonder and willingness to not be I'm top dog, because the second, my dad used to have a saying, the second you think you know everything, you know nothing, because it's the moment you quit learning. So I take all of what was said today as a learning experience for me and move forward from it. All right, I think that's it. That's all I have. Anybody wants to stick around and ask me any further questions, etc., let me know.
Okay.
Same here. I'll be in chats probably for the next 4 or 5 hours because I don't know how to go to sleep. So if anyone needs anything, I'll be around.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
You can tell me when you need me to yell at you.
I will need you actually to yell at me if I'm still here in 5 hours.
5 hours? Gotcha.
Yeah. Zen has been my alarm clock.
You're like anti-alarm clock.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I just want to say I appreciate the transparency. I think, this kind of thing is a no-go for some people, and if that's so so be it.
Yeah, I agree.
And you guys
and obviously,
you fix your mistake, so
yeah,
life goes on.
Yeah. Yeah. We learned. Again, I never faced anything like this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sucks. All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
So Danny,
Thank you.
there's a way to grab this information on the Lord stuff.
Yeah.
And plug it into. I think it's not your week, or I think
Is
it's
it like the raid? Oh, I know what you mean. It's like the notes or something, right?
Yeah. I saw it on TikTok once upon a time.
How do you
Is it like
but they plug.
MRT notes or something? I've seen people talking
I
about
think
that.
it might be
Something.
MRT. You might be right on the MRT. But it shows it on your
Visual
on your
note.
screen. Yeah.
Okay, so how does that's very interesting. So I how would you import that? Is it this one?
Let me check my TikTok
that's a load
thing.
report. Okay.
You could also do it custom if you want to be extra, but
Does it give you like extra things if you are a subscriber, like most?
like everything, yeah.
Everything. See membership options. What's this? Support. Custom report features. Discord access. Ugh.
I hope you guys have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
Does anybody have want to talk separately? Because I'd like to. There's a certain person I need to talk to. So.
Yeah, I think we can probably call the meeting if no one else says anything, and then take it to private conversations if people are not comfortable in front of the group or have more they want to say on the matter.
I have priest healing questions if someone may listen to me for a minute.
Let's go.
What you got?
Okay, so with my holy priest, you guys have the same thing, the little miniature Naru that pops up. It's not actually what it is. It's the mirror image, right? And so when you cast the holy word,
Yep, divine image.
Divine image. So it stays active for 9 seconds. And is there a way? Because I have it set up to where I can one push button with chastise as we're fighting, and it uses my chastise cooldown also with my other rotations. What's the longest I can keep that up, or is there a way to use the holy words that I have to keep that up constantly if I time it right?
I mean, during raid, I just spam my chastise whenever it comes up. I don't know if that helps.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I do too, but I just found this out. So I've only been back for a while. I've only been in a raid maybe 5 times since I've been back, but my healing was about half of what I expected it to be. And then the other day, right before the raid, I was just fucking around and I had an idea. So I redid everything and my healing was ridiculously more. And so I was trying to figure out if you knew more or if there's a way to keep that
And honestly, the bulk of your healing isn't really even that though. So are you talking about raid healing?
So the bulk of the healing isn't that, but with my holy priest, with my cooldown, I utilize prayer of mending a lot, and that little guy almost. I don't think it's actually a prayer of mending. I think it's more of an absorb that it casts whenever I cast the prayer of mending. From what I've been.
Well, with prayer of mending, you get a shield. I think your first how many seconds?
What hero
you
talent
do
are
a
you using?
shield. You get a renew with it, and then you get the kind of like a mini flash shield with it. Every time you hit prayer of mending, we're talking about Oracle, right?
Let me make sure here. Yeah.
So
and are you Archon or Oracle?
No,
Oracle.
Okay.
So typically I would pop my first 2 premonitions. If we're talking about what's the last boss? Dimensius.
Yeah.
Like that first get go, like I would pop both of them because the first one gives you the extra. I mean the premonition, the first premonition that lets you spam permamending pretty much like a gazillion times.
Yeah,
and
you
then
get 4 of them, I believe.
Yeah, the second one is the overheal thing.
Yeah.
So I always pop those two together in that beginning part, and I mean your HPS will just skyrocket from that thing. But I mean, if we're talking about the divine image, like popping that as much as possible between, I mean, you got to be mindful about your what's that circle healing thing that we do?
The halo?
No, the other one. The one you have
Sanctify.
to aim. Yeah, so between sanctify and serenity and chastise, like if you're circling through that properly, I mean, your divine image should be always pretty much up, if that makes sense. Because I always try to make sure that there's only one charge on all of those.
Yeah, so that's why I was asking. It's almost always up now, and I just didn't know if I was missing something to it or a specific way to keep that up full time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could get situational too, because I mean, you don't want to blow a serenity out of for nothing, you know. So if that's the case where there's not a lot of healing going, I mean, there's usually something that the little circle one can heal, like the little. Is it serenity? No, not serenity.
The sanctify.
Sanctify, yeah. Like there's always like a little group that you can sanctify. So I'll pop that if my chastise is not up. So if I want to get my divine image up, then I'll use chastise first, and then I'll play it smart with the rest of my cooldowns. The 2 charges cooldowns. And then a lot of people shy away from divine hymn also. Like I use that like as soon as I can. Yeah, like as soon as there's like some kind of like massive AoE, like not massive, like that first bit of Dimensius. Like I mean, I pop Serenity like I don't know 5 seconds in, just because it's the right amount of healing for that moment, and it just boosts your HPS so much.
Yeah, Dimensius is kind of a strange fight. Like as far as the mana management goes, I've just because you have such a big break. Once you get through that first phase and you're picked up, you'll rebuild most of your mana. Like, you could technically burn through all of your mana on that first phase and still have mana to heal once you land.
Yeah. Like, let me see.
And like